I would say that the biggest obstacle, the biggest roadblock in meditation is having a lack of patience. I would say this is really a roadblock in all obstacles that you have in life, all challenges that you're facing, but it's really seen best in meditation that if you can't sit down just by yourself, sit down in a chair or on the ground cross legged for 3 to 5 minutes, for 3 to 5 minutes and do nothing, just sit there and breathe without doing anything. If you don't, if you aren't able to do that, it shows that you really lack patience. You can't just expect to meditate once and be enlightened. Oh, I meditated once for 4 minutes and I woke up the next morning and I wasn't enlightened. I didn't do it right. That's not how it works. It's the journey. You have to have patience along this path. I know that the first time, so I started meditating because I was going through mental health issues, depression and anxiety, and I tried a lot of things and nothing was working. And I remember one day just Googling like how to cure depression, and the two things that came up were meditation and cold showers. And immediately when I read that, I was like, well, that's stupid, but I've tried everything else. Maybe this will work, maybe this will be different. And the first time I ever meditated, I could probably do it for 5, 10, 15 seconds before my mind was just going crazy, was running at a million thoughts a second. But I didn't give up at that point. Later that day, I tried again and I went for about 30 seconds. And I realized that it's not going to come right away. You're not going to be able to just meditate once and do it for 30 minutes. You got to work your way up. Maybe one time you do it for a minute. Next time your goal is to do it for 3 minutes, 5 minutes. And the more I kind of did this, it really took me, I would say personally, about 3 months to really feel the, I would say, benefits and positive effects that meditation's had on my mindset and on my life. And I would say, just off the top of my head, that I've been a lot more just aware of my thoughts. I've been less attached to them. I've realized one of the big takeaways from meditation is that you are not your thoughts. You are the observer of your thoughts. And when you can kind of make this shift, I would basically compare it to a hurricane. Your thoughts are a hurricane going in your mind. They're swirling around and around and around and around. And you're the still part. You're the eye. The eye of the storm, the eye of the hurricane is the still part. It's the very center of it. You're in the center of all these thoughts, basically witnessing them all go around. And if you think that you're the thoughts, if you think that you are this hurricane, you're always going to be feeling chaotic. You're always going to be going around and around and around at a million miles per second because you think that's what you are. You think that your thoughts are going to be, your thoughts are basically fantasy lands. They're all the positive, all the negative, and everything in between. They're stories of you doing the greatest things ever and accomplishing the greatest achievements, and you having the most glorious, vicious stuff happen to you. And there's nothing that you can do to stop these thoughts from coming in. That's another one of the big misconceptions about meditation, is that you're not just going to meditate and then ever stop having thoughts. Thoughts will always come in from wherever in this universe thoughts come from. Maybe they come from inside you. But if you don't have patience on this journey, again, it took me about 3 months to really feel the effects of meditation, and that was from doing it every day. I could start out doing 15 seconds, then the next day I maybe did 45 seconds, and then the next day I did a minute or 2 minutes, 3 minutes. And I would say kind of the breaking point for me, or the tipping point, was when I could meditate for 10 minutes straight. And I would kind of put this at the magic number, because if you really sit down, do nothing, but just sit there, breathe for 10 minutes, you're going to get out of there and you're going to realize how much that's just affecting the rest of your day. If you wake up and meditate for 10 minutes and you've never meditated before, you're going to feel a sense of kind of inner calm, inner stillness, inner peace that I've never experienced before in my life before meditating. And I think that these are things that people try to find in drugs, and they do it this way because drugs are kind of they're instant gratification. And the problem with instant gratification in this way is that you're basically sacrificing the long term for the short term, and meditation is the complete opposite. I wouldn't even classify it as sacrificing the short term, because you're doing something in the short term, and what you're doing is consciously doing nothing. You're consciously becoming aware. This is the most important thing. Becoming aware of what you're thinking, why you're thinking it, how that's making you feel, and then letting it all go. When you're attached to your thoughts, when you're just clinging so hard, when you're clinging with this tight iron grip about how everything is supposed to be, and everything is so serious and everything is so solid, you're basically stopping this peace that's already inside of you. You're stopping this love from being felt by you, from really expressing itself. And I really don't understand. I guess I do understand, but I don't understand how people can lack patience in something that really only requires patience. Basically, the only thing that is required for you to meditate is to sit there and do nothing but breathe, and to not get up, and to not lose the patience, to not lose the faith in it working. And it's not even having faith in the fact that like this will get me there someday, because you don't meditate for the perceived benefits that you think are going to come. I just meditate because it's something that I truly love to do. I feel this sense of peace and stillness that I really can't get anywhere else. But then when I do that, if I start my day by meditating, it then brings this sense of peace and stillness with me throughout my entire day, which makes everything at least a lot more magical in my view. You just become a lot more conscious and aware of your breath, and you're never really aware of your breathing. Sure, you're breathing, I don't know how many breaths a day, but maybe hundreds of thousands of breaths a day. How conscious are you of really any of them? You're really just, your life's running on autopilot, and when you just stop, take a breath, take a step back from everything that's going on in your life, and can just detach from it and meditate, and realize from kind of a more objective view, from kind of a broader view, that everything is all right, everything is going to be okay, and it's not going to happen immediately. You're not going to become enlightened immediately by meditating, which is why one of the biggest things is just having patience, having trust in the process, having kind of an inner knowing that what you're doing is right. But and here's the most important thing. It's basically a compound effect. If you're gonna let your mind win, so if your goal is to meditate for 10 minutes, and you sit there and say you set an alarm that's for 10 minutes, and you're sitting there, you're breathing, and all you're doing is thinking about other stuff that you want to do, and you're like, all right, screw it, I'm gonna go do something else, and you stop your clock, and it has been 2 minutes. Well, your mind is telling you that it's one there. Your mind is basically keeping its power over you. And if you can't just sit there for 10 minutes and do nothing but breathe, it really shows how controlled you're being by your mind. You're basically the servant to your mind. Your mind is your master. You want to be the master of your mind. And your mind is a terrible master, but it's a great servant. It's a faithful servant. How are you going to make the mind your servant? How are you going to become the master of your mind? It's through patience. It's through persistence. It's through consistent practice. I know that for me, I've been meditating pretty much every day for the past 2 years now, and it's something that I love to do every day. It's something that I look forward to, that it's something that I would really never want to go a day without. Maybe that would mean I'm addicted to it. I don't really think so, because can you really be addicted to breathing? Because that's all meditation really is. It's just breathing. You can practice meditation in pretty much all aspects of your life, which I'll always say. It's really any time where you're fully present in the moment, in this kind of flow state. You can be making music, typing a book, writing a book, painting a portrait, drawing, anything that really brings you into the present moment right now and into the flow state. And when you're in this flow state, it's kind of as if time doesn't even exist. So you could be drawing, if you really love drawing, you could be drawing something for 4 hours and make an absolute masterpiece. And it could have felt like absolutely no time had passed. And that's the way that I feel about when I'm writing, but that also is the way that I feel about when I'm meditating. And when you get to deeper levels of meditation, which is probably takes you into the 15-minute, 20-minute, 25, 30-minute. If you meditate for 30 minutes and you really stick with it, and you basically get beyond all the surface level stuff, all the thoughts that are going in your mind, they really start to still, and you kind of, I don't even know if I would call it another dimension, but yeah, I would say it like that. You're basically getting into another dimension of reality. You're getting into another dimension of yourself that you're not going to just get into by meditating for 5-10 minutes, because the deeper you really dive, the deeper you dive into your own core, your own emotional depths, the more you realize really the vastness of yourself, the infinity of life. It's truly amazing. Say it's truly beautiful, majestic, wonderful, magical, whatever you want to call it, whatever words you want to put on it. But words don't do it justice. The actual experiencing of it is really what you want. It's really the feeling. And this feeling comes with patience. And if you lack patience, you will really never get this feeling, because you're not going deep enough. You're letting your mind control you. You're not taking your power back. You don't understand that you can be the master of your mind if you reprogram your mind, if you basically find this divine inside you, which has always been inside you. If you meditate, have patience, don't lose patience, don't have a lack of patience, something that I used to have a great lack of patience, or a terrible lack of patience, however you want to phrase it. What did I do? I didn't complain about it. I didn't just say, oh, well, this was the way I was born. I don't have any patience, so there's no way I can cultivate it. No. Patience is a skill that you cultivate. You can do it whenever you want, but it's your choice. Nobody's going to do it for you. Nobody's going to tell you not to listen to all the dumb thoughts in your mind that tell you to scroll through social media instead of meditating, or go watch 5 hours of Netflix instead of meditating. I mean, think about how many hours of TV you watch a day. No. How many hours of TV and social media combined that you watch a day? I would say probably the average American over 4 or 5. But you can't sit down for 5 or 10 minutes a day and meditate, do nothing but breathe. Is it because it's boring to you? Well, if you're suffering, if you have mental health issues, it might not be a bad idea to try it out. That's all I'm saying. I know it worked for me. It might not work for other people, but that's just my opinion. My opinion is that if meditation doesn't work for you, it just means that you lack the patience. That's all it is. That's my opinion. That's my rant. I'm out. Nah, but keeping it real, that's just my opinion. I think that if you have patience in the process, and you meditate every day, build your way up from a minute, 2 minutes, 3 minutes, climb up the ladder, you get up to that 20-minute mark, nothing else in life will really matter. You'll have that inner peace, self-love, and stillness that I don't really know you'll be able to get from anything else. You get a lot of satisfaction. I just published a book, and I got a lot of satisfaction out of that, but I know that it's short-lived, because here's the kicker: I keep wanting to write more. I keep writing more books, and that's kind of a desire that'll be insatiable. I'll want to write 100 books. But meditating, it's like, again, it's just words don't do it justice. Meditating, you meditate for 20, 30 minutes, and you get out of there and you're like, wow, like, you realize how it just flows into the rest of your life, and you're just like, I love life. I really just love life, and meditating helped me do that, and I'm forever thankful for meditating. If you want to meditate, I'd definitely check it out. Have patience. That's all I'm going to say. Have patience.